Hello, everyone. We talked about this identity crisis in part one, which I'm going to share the link below. Let's talk about how to make peace with our unlived life and what constitutes our identity and why there is conflict and why we can't live our best lives every single day. Here is the thing, right? Our identity is shaped, it is lost, or it is altered based on life events. So, when there is a childbirth, or when you lose a parent, or when you lose a job, or your spouse leaves you and the marriage is over. These are some of the major events that happen that leads to loss and alteration of identity. There is one more thing, that if you get into an accident and if there is a disability that follows, that also leads to loss or alteration of identity as you know it. Okay. So, what happens is when things like this keep happening and you keep growing up, you're facing real life and sometimes tragedy, sometimes success, whatever life keeps throwing at you. You also try to frame your world and your future in a way that society approves because you want to fulfill others' expectations of you. So, in that process, you start wearing masks. You try to adopt people's definitions of how you should behave in a civil society. When you start wearing masks that don't fit with you, that are not the true representation of what your inner um, person keeps telling you that you should be, there is going to be conflict. These masks, I'm not talking about COVID masks, but you can imagine COVID masks. Let's say you're wearing a COVID mask, and if it doesn't fit properly, it is going to do a lot of harm than good. Yes? So, what happens is, what if the mask doesn't fit well? You're going to be in pain. You're going to suffer as a result of that. What you're going to wonder, what if it falls off and my true identity is revealed? So, in order to protect yourself from that fiasco, you double down and do your duties. If you don't want to be that wife, but you are supposed to be that good wife, you try to double down on your efforts and you put on a great show of showcasing how great of a mother, of a wife, or a provider you are. In the process, your identity, your inner identity, your true one will become far more separated and misaligned from what society thinks, what you think society demands. So there is going to be misalignment, and misalignment often causes a great deal of turmoil. It is going to steal your joy from you. It is not going to allow you to live your best because you don't feel worthy of contributing based on your true strengths. You don't allow anybody to come near you because you feel like a fake. So, what if this kind of an identity conflict happens when you are 40 years of age? So, are you going to think that all the 30 years past since you became a tween is a setback? Is everything that you ever had in your life not what you really wanted? So, did that relationship really exist? Should I be wiping off everything that defines me till now? Why did I not act sooner? You keep worrying about things like that. But instead of thinking that everything is a lost cause, right? Because what is the guarantee that in the future things will work out the way you want it to? So, here is what I want you to start with: self compassion. You have done everything eh, keeping in line with civility that the society expects you to do. We built gated communities for our physical selves. We created all these rigid belief mental prisons for our minds because we want to stay civil, right? And we get into this conflict when we realize that our values and our belief systems and the attributes that we have assigned to ourselves and the relationships that we have been in are not helping our personal growth. They're not fostering who we truly are. So, I want you to realize that you have one life to live. If you don't want a deathbed confession of all the things that you have missed out on, I want you to think like this. What will it take for me to live my absolute truth? Who is keeping me company? Am I being influenced in the right positive way? Am I accumulating peace or possessions? I want you to ask yourself, what is my life telling me at this moment? If I'm not a good wife, if I'm not a good provider, if I'm not a good employee, who am I? Ask yourself what life is telling you right now. Good luck.